Hey everyone, this is Olay from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast.
Happy Sunday, everyone. It's another Sunday here with Laddering Your Success, free online student mentoring with Olay Shorunke here, of course, with Festus and Olay. Festus, how you doing today this Sunday?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. We had some donuts this morning, so that was live. And then we had some Shipleys, you know what I'm talking about? And then we're looking for a new church, and so we wanted to go visit one, and they were doing online. I didn't know they was doing online, so then we went to another one, which I had a couple in mind, and so that was pretty cool.
Oh, awesome! You talked about quite a few things. We had some really good conversations. And one of the things that we really wanted to do to make this really impactful and to really reach across to really reach those who this is made for is we try to go out there and get actual students so they can take what we're giving them and they can apply it. And if they have any questions, we can go over those things. And so the way this really works is we'll kind of have a set deal or something that we're going to be talking about, but it's really going to be ran by the students. Of course, with LYS comes with 7 different sort of chapters that we go over. We've got financial, educational, social, cultural, vocational, and health. Those are the 7 different spheres or aspects that LYS covers. And the beautiful thing about those is that, especially as a young person, if you're able to start cultivating or building those skills early on, it's going to help you become that much more successful later on in your life when you get to be our age and even older. And so that's what we're doing now. So we're slowly starting and working in the process of bringing in those students. We've had one that's been really consistent, really awesome, and I hope she's really taken to some of the things that we've given her. That's Amiya. Amiya, how you doing this Sunday?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I keep wanting to say better than I deserve, but I'm doing great. Yeah, doing great, especially when we get to see you here. And also, I have one of my students that I see almost every day at the school that I work at, part of one of the boys groups that I have. Ifure, just give us a quick wave there. If you can. Ifure, can you give us a quick wave? All right, he's probably doing some Roblox research there. So, but that's one of them. So hopefully we'll start getting more and more students in here so we can start talking about whatever you're going through. And so Festus, I know we had been talking about spiritual, and I hope I have another one of my students that's going to be coming up here quick. I'm going to see if I can send a quick message. But I wanted us to take a quick detour if we could. Festus, because I love having these conversations with you. I feel like if our conversations were recorded more often, almost like a podcast style, when we just normally have a conversation, like when I go to your house, that would be really, really good content that people would like to have.
Bro, I think it's always smashing content, and I think that's even just these, people can sit back and reflect on certain things. I think that's one of the problems with I think it's more of an American thing, you know what I'm saying, where they try to put everybody in a box. Like our society, it automatically tries to put you in a box, and I think people are fighting the box, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of frustration comes from, because it's like, oh, if you're in middle school, you should only hang out with middle schoolers. You're in high school, you should only hang out. And it's like, well, how do you learn about what is to come if you're not hanging out with older people? And how do you know what's going on if you're not hanging out with younger people? So that's where I think these discussions come just really live, is to hear what, Ifire is going through, Amiya is going through, and help them to get to their next level as, each person's leveling up, so that's the way I look at it.
Speaking of leveling up, we have Daniel Hill here. Did you like that segue?
The Dr. Hill, yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend himself. We outside.
Y'all stupid. What's good, y'all?
We doing good.
Good to
We
see
good.
you.
You doing good, D Hill. D Hill just had a birthday a couple of days ago. Happy birthday, man.
Appreciate it, bro. Thanks, bro.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So, Festus, we can actually start from here since we got the boys and actually Daniel, who is here with us.
Go ahead.
And Amiya, if you can, I would love to get your perspective on. I want to talk about two things, but we'll kind of start with this. What do you think is the main or some of the main differences we have with the way our teenagers are growing up, or the way that they're being raised today as opposed to, when we were in high school? I think what came from that is, where this idea came from is, I think we have a generation of students who essentially just don't know how to deal with a lot of things. I know for us, there was definitely things that we, that were new for us that we really didn't know how to handle, but, we kind of had no choice but to rise to the occasion, so to speak, and kind of deal with those things as they came to us. It seems like this generation has a higher sense of entitlement, which a lot of people don't like, but at the same time I see it almost as a product of people working very hard to make sure that their children didn't have to want. But it's almost like you wanted to make sure your children didn't want, but you didn't tell them what you were doing and how they had to do it and how it applied to them. So, I think about what the average kid is dealing with today. Obviously, you got social media, the cell phones, so much about body and how the world sees you, and not appreciating your own unique voice, and kind of just following other people and trends. How is that so much more different, or what are some of the differences y'all have noticed now as opposed to when we were in high school? And that's open for everyone. And to be honest, real quick, Amiya, are you there, Amiya?
Yes, sir.
If you can, I want to start off with you, because you're the future. You're the future. How is it? What is like the normal day like for you? What are what freaks you out? What annoys you? What's fun about it right now, just in 2022, being a teenager?
I don't know. My normal day, I wake up, get ready, go to school, go home, do more schoolwork, and go to practice. Come home, do more schoolwork, go to sleep. So, I don't know. I just try to stay busy.
It was a good thing.
You said you try to stay busy?
Yeah, I try to stay pretty busy with my sport in school.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So what about friends? What about things like friends, and like, is it easy to make friends? Are people more closed off? Do you have friends from middle school that you're still friends with till today?
I feel like friends in high school, they don't really matter that much. So I only say that because like high school, a lot of people are like immature. And as we get older, we mature more. Right now, it's just kind of like we're still all trying to figure out who we are. And people are still developing. So, I mean, I have friends of all ages. I even have friends in middle school, but I have friends in college, friends out of college.
That's so unique. I don't know if it was like that for us, Festus. I can only think about like church. That's the only place I would actually see kids from other age groups that I would kind of like mingle or hang around with. But in retrospect, the thing, and Amiya, I mean, how old are you, Amiya?
I'm 18.
18. Okay, so she's like, you're pretty much done. Festus, we weren't that sharp when we were 18.
Well, I think the thing is, I had some friends because of Maurice, him being an older brother, and I think because you're the oldest too. Amiya, are you the oldest, or where are you at in the fam? Like, where are you at in the family?
I'm the oldest daughter.
Okay.
For my dad, her mom. I have a lot of older god brothers.
So do you hang with some of their friends or like know some of the people that they know type thing?
I don't really hang out with them that much of their friends because they're from Fayetteville. Most of the younger kids that I see or talk to, they're from Tullahoma, which is where I'm from.
Okay.
Shout out to Oklahoma High School, state champs, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, so this is the question I had though. My question is, do you feel like relationships are more shallow, Amiya? Do you feel like you don't want to get involved with people like your age because they're shallow? Is because that's kind of what I took kind of out of what you were saying. Like either people are immature or they're shallow. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, people can be shallow. I feel like I'm more like worried on myself right now. Like I'm the most important thing to me, as selfish as it sounds. So I'm trying to become more aware of myself before I just try to get a friendship and then try to figure out how to deal with that. Because there's a lot of kids that I have to be around. It's very obvious that they aren't aware of themselves and they just act intrusively. And I don't really want to be around that, you know?
No, that's super deep. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like this level of self-awareness. Would you say like, okay, a lot of them are just completely unself-aware and therefore it's not even worth the time and energy to try to, you see what I'm saying? Connect with people.
Also because Philly is very catchy. And quite a bit of kids have a lot of negative energy because of things that go on at home or their perspective on life. And ever since like I started being like away from like school and I started doing like online classes, I feel like it helped me more. Even with just socializing, like you would think that I wouldn't socialize as well, but when I go to my TVA academy, I actually socialize very well with those kids because you can tell that they kind of have the same mindset as me. I mean, you always want to surround yourself around things that are good for you. There's obviously going to be obstacles anywhere, but it's just in a small town like that, there isn't much to do but be negative sometimes, talk, get in trouble. So, I mean, I could understand why they're like that. In reality, once they venture out, they'll figure themselves out. But I'm not going to be a part of that transition for them because I'm trying to find me.
That's dope. That's dope. Definitely dope. Olay?
I am reminded of, first of all, she low-key sounds like an LYS student ambassador. That's what you want in an LYS student ambassador, right?
We want everybody to be like you, Amiya. Like everybody.
But we understand, and that's part of why I wanted to talk about this. This is really good. But before we get there, what you said reminded me of two key principles from LYS. Key principle 10 and key principle 11. We talk about key principle 11 quite a bit, and that is be a friend so you can make friends. A lot of the characteristics that we have in friends and our friends, or that we want in friends, we kind of have to mirror those things, and you'll be surprised how you attract those things. Right. The other thing that Amiya kind of mentioned that I got from her is key principle 10. Friends are the family that we choose for ourselves. Right. That's one of our messages that we did. Like, you can't choose your family. Like that's given to you. That's a genetic amalgamation, right? That's put into a particular person. You can't choose that. But your friends, you can choose your friends. And so friends are the family that you choose for yourself. And that's just insane on its own when you really think about it. So it's funny how she was talking, I think she said the TBA class that she goes to, she said like she likes going there more because they're more like-minded. See that term? She said they're more like-minded. So once you see that person who kind of thinks on the same wavelength as you, you're automatically just going to be like, okay, this person, we're flowing. This is someone I can kind of relax and just kind of be myself more around, right? And as opposed to just like, kind of like when we were in high school, we were kind of like the boys. You probably wouldn't, really hang around. So I can't lie to you, We were straight fools. I mean, it is what it is. But that's why we're here now, so we can be like, hey, don't be like us, be better. But that's what it is. And I think you're absolutely right. Like over time, you're going to figure it out. Like you're gonna go through processes. You're gonna be like, yo, why am I doing this? You're gonna be like Drake, what am I doing? What am I doing? Is that what he says? I don't know. I don't listen to that.
I've never listened to a full Drake song.
Man, you know.
As many as he has, I've never listened to a full Drake song. So I'm curious, if you're a little bit younger than Amiya, what's your take on it in terms of like friends and school? How do you view those relationships? I don't know if he could hear us or not. Okay, Olay.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about the social part of the Laddering Your Success book, where it talks about like, how do you find those particular people, right? How do you find those particular people that you kind of bring to you, that you bring to yourself? And you talk about the three main types of social groups that we have, right? You have union, like family as a union, structures, and I can't remember what the last one. You remember what the last one was, Festus? I have it here somewhere real quick. Give me 1 second. Family. Family being three things. Family is a union, it's a structure, and it's an organism, right? It's a union, it's a structure, it's an organism. And you know, it's so funny. I was talking to my students last week and I was telling them, I said, we were created to be around each other. We were literally created to be around each other. If we were created to be independent, like on our own, it would only take one parent to make a child. But it literally takes two, right? Just like the song, it takes two, right? It takes two to make a child. So that tells you that we have to be social. So I just love the fact that Amiya was able to point that out about finding people that are kind of on the same wavelength as you through your journey, through Laddering Your Success, to help you along that path, right? To help you along that path. Festus, real quick, can you talk a little bit about family being a union, family being a structure, and family being an organism?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you three things. Let's say first, union, right? A union, you have to take two elements or two compounds and bring it together. It's literally science. And this is where they literally get the term social sciences from. It's dealing with people, right? And so the thing is, again, like Amiya was saying, if you got people who have certain friction to each other, it's gonna be like this. And this is the hard part, right? In union, we get our needs met, right? And so if we're getting our needs met in this union, right? You go to school, you go to the grocery store, whatever, what have you, and you're going to get those needs met. But the person that you're trying to get your needs met from is not a healthy person. They're full of trauma, they're full of drama, they're full of tragedy, but you got this need, then long term, it could be very detrimental. Right? And so that's why we have to really try to figure out what people are going through at the time that you meet them, right? Because you got to give people grace and room to grow. And sometimes it's in you to help them grow, right? Because if we didn't help each other grow, if we didn't help each other mature, just think about how like that kind of environment, right? And unfortunately, you know, growing up in the environments that we did, we used to have this thing that we used to say was that, oh, you friendly. Oh, you friendly. You remember that, right? So literally that meant everybody walking around with a mean mug. So, and for a mean mug, that's a sad face for our non-Afrocentric listeners in the future. So anyway, because people used to walk around with a mean mug, you really didn't know, okay, can I really hang with this person? Because everybody looked like they're ready to fight. So think about that environment constantly 24/7. Right? It's not a healthy environment. So this is where it goes into an organism. So an organism is, number one, determined by what's called homeostasis, right? So any living creature, any living being is trying to find an even kilter where it could just maintain, right? Where it could just maintain. And so that means I got to get enough food. I got to get enough water. I got to get, we call it the Maslow's hierarchy of needs for our science folks. I need to get them basics to just maintain. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually going anywhere in life, right? And so that's hard, because if you have dreams, if you have passion, if you have vision, and you're just around people who just maintain, that could still suck the energy out of you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that goes again to what Amiya was saying. Is like, y'all just talking about stuff that I really don't care about right now, because I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to go somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So you have to figure out how to get in those different circles. Okay, now let's talk about structure, right? So if you talk about structure, it's kind of like a building. And so a building has to have a good foundation in order for people to grow and go up, right? And so kind of like that ladder, if you have a wide base, you can go higher. A skyscraper with a wide, solid base can go up higher. That's an engineering fact, right? And so in the same way, that's how families are. So a family where you have parents who have a good, strong moral character base, the family could just go further. You see what I'm saying? Same thing. If the kids take on that base, the family could just go further. Same thing with a school, right? So yeah, I think I touched on those enough.
Absolutely. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Festus. What I'm going to do right now is I'm about to share my screen. All righty. I think I got it shared there. And I'm going to draw a scenario. This is something that just really touched me, kind of helped me put things in perspective as we go through the teaching ranks and do the things that we do as a teacher. So if you're not familiar, I am a teacher. Actually, I think, we kind of all are teachers here to one extent or the other. And so I kind of want to talk about this with everyone. Let me not make it green. I want to make it. Got a student here. Let's draw it here. Got a student here. Kind of, we're not sure if they're happy or if they're sad. But looking up, this student has a mom and a dad, right? Or it took a mom and a dad to make this child right here. What I see sometimes is the average student is dealing with, sometimes they're angry. Sometimes they're sad. Sometimes they're confused. Sometimes they're tired. Sometimes they're hungry. Right? First of all, Festus, you're not gonna compliment me on my online whiteboard skills. I think I'm getting a little bit better.
I'm at least this time is not skipping.
Got that glove? Hey, I got that glove. Hey, I'm this close to being on Khan Academy level, bro. I'm right there, bro. I'm right there, bro.
I thought you was watching the Joe Burrow. Oh, that's the glove that Joe be wearing?
Oh, yeah.
on your Peyton Manning, man. You know what I'm saying?
Who is it? Oh, my Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, the Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I'm saying?
So one of my favorite things in LYS is for the average, and Amiya, I think this is also like really, really, you kind of hit this on the nail as well. Hit the nail on the head with this one. Is LYS will kind of lead you to answer these really tough questions about where you come from. Because here's the crazy thing. Let me move this. The crazy thing is this. Your mom, sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, there it is. All right. Your mom had a mom and dad. And your dad had a mom and dad. And guess what? Your mom's mom had a mom and dad. And your mom's dad had a mom and dad. Same thing for your dad's side. When you really put this in perspective, it is beyond fascinating how just one student got to be where they are. This is just 1, 2, 3 generations. This is just 3 generations. 3 generations, including you. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Did I do that wrong? Oh, no. Yeah, 15 people, including you. 15 people with 1, 2, 3 generations that led to you, right? So let's think about all these issues the average student is dealing with. And this is just like a basic, I'm just coming up with a just basic idea here, right? A lot of times, what happens is we have no idea about this side. We have no idea about this side. We just don't know anything about this side. So we're only dealing with this side. And sometimes on this side, maybe your mom dealt with some things. Maybe she dealt with things, maybe she had anger issues or she dealt with anger issues. Maybe she was sad a lot. Maybe she was confused a lot. Maybe she was tired a lot. Maybe she was hungry a lot, right? And what happens is, if we don't know about one side and we're only seeing everything from this side, and the people who are raising us are dealing with all of these things, guess where it gets passed to? A lot of times it gets passed down to us. Okay? And we're having to deal with these things, and we're asking ourselves, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? Why do I deserve this? Who's going to help me? Here's where it gets even crazy. Sometimes you have this side, right? Sometimes you have this side, and they could be dealing with some of these things as well. And because of that, guess where it gets passed to? It gets passed down to us. Those things, unfortunately, sometimes get passed down to us. Okay? But that is the beauty of LYS. What we're trying to do with LYS is we're trying to take you and give you a little bit of, we'll call it clarity, right? As to why have I dealt with these things? Why are these things happening? And then from there, we can say, what do we need to do, to fix it? So we can start to move towards a path of turning this to this, turning confusion to understanding, turning tired to full of energy, turning hungry to well-fed, okay? And so, as I said in the beginning, we talked about those 7 chapters, right? 7 chapters of LYS. We've got spiritual. We've got financial. Do not think that just because you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, you're a junior, you're a senior, you're working at, what's that place I went to a couple of weeks ago? Freddy's Steak Burger and Fries, right? Don't think that this financial portion is not for you. Look, you're never too young for a little Dave Ramsey. Trust me. I've learned that, okay? Please believe that. Educational. We try to say it at the end of every one of our mentoring sessions here. There are legitimate reasons for not going to college. There are no legitimate reasons for not gaining an education, okay? Social. We've been talking a lot about social today, right? Cultural. Languages, traditions, beliefs, customs, right? Songs, chants. That kind of flowed in last week with the spiritual, because we talked about chants, song, a couple other different forms of just voicing of just like spiritual. I can't think of the word right now. Exercises. We can call them spiritual exercises that people use, yes, right?
Spiritual exercises and spiritual tools. Tools,
yes, sir. Vocational. Taking your passion and actually putting it towards something tangible that you can use to make a living, your life's work. And health, okay? It looks kind of confusing, or like there's kind of a lot, but it's really, when you really break it down, we are a combination of all the things that have happened to us before, right? Not to our knowledge, not by our own fault, but while we're here, we have an opportunity to take those things and turn the negatives into positives, right? Turn the negatives and turn them into positives. Angry to sad, sad to happy. I'm sorry. Angry or sad to happy, confused to understanding, tired to energy, hungry to fed. We can fix those things, okay? So I guess that's our little, I don't know if we call that lesson or what for the day, but I say all that for Festus, Daniel. Oh, we have another person here today. One of my actual students. I'm very happy, very sweet young lady by the name of Allison. Allison, how you doing? Good seeing you. You can just put something in the chat. That's fine. But just to talk about that, Festus, you know, we saw where it kind of was. How do we deal with like the things that our parents have dealt with, right? And the things that our parents have dealt with, how they affect us, and what are some things, you know, just from a base position that we can slowly start to do to help us kind of, you know.
So yeah, a thing that
overcome those things.
A thing that a lot of kids struggle with, right? There's like this kind of flow of like, my parents are so stupid, they don't know anything. They're idiots. They're making my life hard, right? And the older you get, you'll start to realize that they were working with a certain set of tools and experiences. And so this is where you have to try to look at your parents in context. The younger you are, the less context you have, right? So for example, you know, I like my dad, I say he was either brilliant or like crazy. Like he was just like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I couldn't quite understand, because we had this book of, you know, it's a bookcase at home, and my dad studied engineering. I'm like, dude, you got like all these engineering books. You're smarter than a lot of the people that I've met. I'm like, why aren't you doing like more with your life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In my mind, in my like 9-year-old mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not realizing it's like, okay, him being an immigrant, there were certain, you know, laws and things that they struggled with. They couldn't just go to college like we could go to college.
Yeah. And
it goes back to what you were saying earlier about like kind of having this feeling of entitlement in this generation. It's like, oh, things are just supposed to be happening lickety split for me, right? And the problem is when you have certain access to things in life, you know, social media, fast food, different kind of things that happen lickety split, but the real deep major things of life don't happen, it gets in like conflict, and it's like a grind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, mom, dad, I want you to be better, but you're not. And you're not better at the speed that I want you to be better. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I want my life to be better.
Yeah.
And so this is where, again, we have to have a little bit of grace and a little bit of understanding that they might be doing their best. And I have this saying is everybody's where they're at for a reason. One thing that I've noticed, and one thing that just happens in life, is if you have a Metro bus mentality, you're on the Metro bus for a reason.
Yeah.
The person who has a Benz mentality is not going to be on the Metro bus very long, okay?
Yeah.
And the only reason why they might be there is to try to get you off the Metro bus. You see what I'm saying? The truth of the matter is that you can outgrow family, you can outgrow friends, you could outgrow situations. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just those different experiences. But that doesn't always have to be a negative thing. You don't always have to put them in a negative box to be like, yo, I've outgrown you. See how much better I am than you, and come off condescending. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing I would like kind of try to encourage, like as a young person, right, is ask yourself these questions. How can I look up to someone without taking all their junk with me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one thing I struggle with, is you either hate it or love it. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes even when it comes to your family, it's like, I don't need to take all that baggage y'all got. You see what I'm saying? So if you're in a position where it's like you have to live through it, if you're 12, 13, 14, 15, and you got to live through it for a while, okay, you know, you're learning some things that you probably don't want to do when you're an adult, right? But then you also have to understand where you're at now. What freedom can you exercise in a safe and healthy manner? And so the thing is, let's say, for example, you want to work, you want to have friends, because a lot of times when you're, especially in this age group that y'all are in, it's escapism, right? I'm hopping up in the metaverse. I got my phone. I got I'm on social media. I literally just check out, and that becomes a big problem, right, in your future, because if you're not doing kind of like what Amiya saying, and like, I'm trying to pull people in, I'm trying to get into healthy environments. I'm looking for ways that I could do constructive things. If you're not doing that, then you could kind of get lost in this abyss, you know what I'm saying, of just being out there. So I hope that helped you. If that helped you, put a yes in the chat or put a thumbs up in the chat. If y'all was like, yo, that's cool. That I could probably flow with that. Put a yes in the chat for me. Olay, back to you.
I'm writing out a question for myself because you kind of reminded me about some of those things. I think you made a really good point. One of the things that I had to remember when I was younger was, especially looking back now, I didn't realize all the things that my parents had experienced for me to be here. I didn't realize that my parents literally went through a whole civil war. I didn't realize that my dad came to this country with only one suitcase. I didn't realize that, I don't even know if I can tell this story, but there was.
Well, just leave some parts out, I guess.
No. Yeah, I'll just put it this way. I didn't know my dad's first meal in this country. Like, there's a whole story behind the first meal he ever got in this country. And you think about that, and then you think about.
I kind of want to hear this. I kind of want to hear it. But okay. If you don't, we'll talk later. Me and you will talk later. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Sorry, y'all.
I'll get.
Me too. Tell me too.
I'll get permission from my dad, and then I'll go. But and I don't know if I'm saying this right. Chio, CHIO. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to LYS Student Mentoring. I hope you're having a great Sunday. Hope you guys are getting ready for the NBA All-Star game. All right, we're going to be doing a little barbecuing here ourselves, So I hope y'all are enjoying the Sunday. It's a nice day out there. LYS free student mentoring. So, but I had to think about all those things. And it's not until I look back, definitely wasn't the normal childhood. Lots of hand-me-downs, lots of, if you complain about food, you will be hungry because you're just not gonna, the whole, I want this, I want that, and I think about how it affects me now because for a long time, I couldn't make decisions on my own because I was so used to people telling me like, this is what you need. And it's like, hey, welcome to adulthood. Here are all the choices. And I'm just like, oh, that's a lot.
Bro, you know what? I realized this it was actually a couple months ago. I was getting some cereal and I was like, I don't want that cereal. So I opened like a second box of cereal, And so when I opened that second box of cereal, I was like, I'm rich now. You know what I'm saying? Because I opened 2 boxes of cereal at the same time. You know how that was, right? Yeah. And I came from broke, like water with cornflakes. You know what I'm saying? And so you think about, again, we talk about all the stuff our parents have done to try to get us from this point to the next point. You see what I'm saying? We really have to be appreciative to a certain degree, and again, just not carry on all the baggage. And so I seen a pop up in the chat, and so I guess how can we tie this into scholarships? Let me think about that for a quick second, and then we'll talk about some scholarships. Chai, if you had, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Chai, if you had specific questions, go ahead and DM me just right here, and then that way I could tackle those specific questions regarding scholarships and stuff. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, we can take. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Festus. Finish up.
No. I was going to send it back to you. You got it.
Yeah, definitely. We can take a quick detour. We're always, and that's the beauty of the free student mentoring. It can go a bunch of different ways. I mean, whatever the needs are, that's where we will go. I'll say this for everyone here in the mentoring and the meeting right now. I want you to say one thing, or think of one thing you could have told your younger self when you were going through those growing pains. What's one thing you would have told yourself if you could go back and talk to your younger self? What's one thing you could have told yourself? Think about that mindset that you were in, and I'll go ahead and start. I think looking back, if I could go back and talk to my younger self and just say, like, you know, something to help me out now, I think I would say something along the lines of don't stress and learn to speak your truth, right? Don't stress, learn to speak your truth. Don't be afraid of your own voice. Because I was definitely very afraid to be myself and be my own and have my own voice. And so that's what I would tell myself. Hill said, don't blow money like I'm stupid and invest. Yeah, that's a good one. So Hill said, don't blow money. Don't blow that money like I'm stupid and invest. So for sure.
Dave Ramsey.
Hey man, that's that Ramsey. Festus, you wanna say one thing?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to don't knock what you don't know. And so that's like, that got me through a lot. Just that little saying, like, don't knock what I don't know. Cause I was so used to just, you know, you think you're smarter, you think you have it all figured out, and you really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Amiya? All right. She's probably ripping in. Oh, there she go.
I guess don't invalidate your feelings so much.
That's a good one. Don't invalidate your feelings so much. Yeah, I think I could definitely vibe with that. I definitely understand that. Absolutely. Hill said, this old deep thinker got an old soul. Allison, if you got something you want to say, please be sure, just put it in the chat. All right, just put it in that chat box. Festus, did you get a message about the scholarship stuff? Oh, I think she may have
no, she said she just wanted to jump in real quick. But in reflection, I would say this, just kind of what it means to be a scholar. Oftentimes, your parents are asking you to do something they didn't have the opportunity to do, right? And so, as a student, right, you have an opportunity to go into a different space that your parents may not have been in. And that's one of the reasons they're pushing you, and they're asking you to do this and they're asking you to do that. And, you know, sometimes we feel like, you know, they're putting too much pressure on us, but sometimes it's really them trying to get you to not be in the space that they're in, you know? And so I think as we push forward with our educations, that's something that we could appreciate, but we could also just hold this, you know, to be true, you know, so.
All right, I think that was wonderful. And I got one more thing I wanted to add to that before we go. Where's my deal? I'm gonna circle this for you. I was writing that out as Festus was talking. And if they're not pushing you, find someone positive. Who's that? That could be a teacher. That could be a coach. That could be a friend. That could be a family member. That could be someone at church. That could be someone that you see just on a day-to-day basis, right? Find someone positive that can help you push you in that direction, all right? Oh my goodness, there's another one of my students coming in, man. This is so awesome. I don't know if she's there. I know that name. That's one of my students. That's Tierney. Tierney Johnson, is that you? Tierney, is that you? Hey, she sent me a chat. Hey, how you doing? I think that was what was that? My third year of teaching. I had Miss Tierney Johnson, whose father was at the time worked at the school that I was at, and she was just the sweetest thing. I've been really fortunate to have some really, really great students. I always tell them, she said, yeah, that's me. Super sweet young lady. I've been really fortunate to have some really, really great students. And I just feel really blessed that I haven't been mean enough to where when I ask and send things out, they're like, huh, you? No. Actually, heck no. I'm out of here. What? How dare you respond to me, you mean person.
You ruined my life once already.
Oh, trust me, I've got some like that. I've got some that like they know because I was just talking about this with Mr. Hill and Crawford. I said, if you push me there, I think all teachers can get there. We can be pretty petty. But it's all to teach. It's all to teach. For a lot of teachers, the audacity. A lot of.
Bro, you want to hear something wild? Wow, bro. I had a kid. I had left that school 2 years ago. So they was in like second grade.
Yeah. And
so I came back to visit. And the kid was like, I told you he still walks the hall. Like, he was like, I did. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, I just came to visit. You know what I'm saying? But like it was like a ghost. My presence was like a ghost in the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And real quick, I'm sending a message here, but I don't really need to send it because I'm about to say it. For those of you students that are on here right now, really quickly, I want you to just put one thing, one word. What is something that you want to see on the student mentoring? What is something that you want to talk about? What's something that you want to see? What's something that's like pressing that you want to talk about? Like it can be whatever, anything, just one thing, because what we really want to do is we want to make this geared towards you. We want to make it geared towards you. So anything that you're thinking that you love, that you want to talk about, it could be scholarships, it could be social, it could be TikTok, it could be why do the friends that I used to have see me and don't say hi to me anymore? Why is this happening at home with my parents? Why do these group of people, kind of talk to me or deal with me like this? Why do boys talk to me like this? Why do girls talk to me like this? Anything that you're thinking of dealing with, just put it out there. Just put it out there. It can be a lot. I really feel like even as you go younger, even almost to elementary school, the things that the average student is dealing with is like just so much more than what we dealt with. Because when we were growing up, we didn't have to worry about, the latest trends or what was out there. We were so busy running outside with snot in our noses. I remember my mom used to give me a slice of cheese and a slice of cheese in a high C box, and I was on my way. That's all I needed, So if you can, all right, and make sure you tell your friends. Every Sunday at 2 p.m., we're going to be doing free online student mentoring, right? If you need help with your homework, that's I can't help with that, but I can do a quick thing. Maybe Mr. Hill can open up another, I can already see his face. Sir, I do this from Monday. He calls his camera. He says, sir, I do this from Monday through Friday. Sir, Saturdays and Sundays is my time. But every Sunday at 2 p.m., tell your friends. Folks, this is free. Free student mentoring, right? Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, right? LYS, Be No Do, LYS, Festus.
So Be No Do LYS is for the teachers. There's one for students. Sorry. What did I say? I put it on here, LYS students. Just look up LYS students.
LYS students.
And especially if you're looking for scholarship information, we're doing a scholarship series. Actually, we're going to be in a scholarship series from last week until April 2nd. We're having a scholarship event. There is a charge for that event, so you might want to talk to your parents. Get early bird tickets, because like $15 for early bird tickets. Trust me when I tell you this, it's hard to each week put scholarship information in one place. But when we do that event, you're going to make way more money. You're going to get way more out of it than $15, okay? And so we'll get you guys that information at a later time. So make sure you follow us on social media, right? And then that way we can get there, okay? And then for your parents, put, I think it's LYS Parents on IG and on Facebook, okay? So LYS Parents. So if you're like, man, I think my parents need to hear like this or about this, to have them follow us. Be like, hey, stop you know, let me chill. Let me chill. I was about to say something ratchet. But anyway, like, hey, stop watching the twerk videos. But anyway, everybody be doing it, man. It's unfortunate, man. That's how they try to ruin your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Ruin your mind.
For sure.
Because it's like if you're looking for somebody twerking or you twerking, it's like, come on, man. What are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, tell them to follow us. All right. And we will have great info for you there. And y'all follow us. Make sure I should be seeing some TikTok followers like right now, especially trying to find out more about scholarships. We got a pretty dope scholarship series coming up there. So yeah.
I see you, Allison, with the glasses. How you doing, dear?
Good.
Good seeing you, dear. So yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Festus. So it is 2:57. Anything else before we wrap up, guys?
I do have one thing. If you can, in like 1 to 5 words, what is your takeaway for today? As a student, what is something you said, hey, this is good. I liked this thing that you took it away. So you can either put it in the chat or you could come on camera and just let us know real quick.
I'm gonna start with Allison because she's my student right now.
I think you're muted, Allison. What was it for today? Couldn't hear you. It went back to the thing.
She's super shy.
Yeah.
So I'm giving her a hard time. She's super shy. No worries. That's wonderful. It's just great to see your face.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Something that you said that got me was, man, like what you said when you said you never know what your parents went through to get you. It's like you knew it growing up, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of almost like you forget it while you're growing up, all the stuff they went through. But when you just said it and he was talking about all that stuff, and when we end this meeting at like 3, you know, he would tell us, you know, saying the meal his dad ate, right? But I just now remember like how my pop, them, they was like in a 1-bedroom house and it was like 6 kids, bro. Like that's a whole different ball game. Or like how my mom, her sister died when she was young, and she had to take care of. And then my grandfather died, and my grandma was, she was sad, so my mom had to step up when she was older. It's just like, and then start thinking about some of the housing stuff, like when they got houses back then, the same interest rate they were paying wasn't the same interest rate other races were paying. So it was just like, man, now you're saying we over here mad about getting a 3.5% interest rate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying when they were sitting here paying 15-16% on that 1-bedroom, and their house was smaller than the house down the street. So
yeah, and it was killing me because my mom was talking about how they found out that they had to pay it immediately while the other people had a year to start paying it. I was like, you had a year? That's just, I don't know, man. It just hit me right now when you said that, bro. It's like, man, all the stuff they went through, bro. And now I'm over here complaining about a $15 at a restaurant. Like, man, I ain't trying to pay this. $2 tip. I ain't giving it a tip.
but you see, that's kind of what we said. The hard work, you see your parents struggle, right? Yeah. I saw my parents struggle a lot. Like I never saw the white in my dad's eyes till I was like 16. Every time I saw him, I just thought he was red eyes.
Wow.
Yeah. Every time, because the man was working 2 jobs for the longest. And so because of all that hard work, it kind of leads to you now being like $15. You don't even realize it, but that's the benefit, right?
Yeah.
But you still have an understanding of like, yo, like if it wasn't for my parents doing these things, I couldn't be like, I went to HEB with my brother, with Clemente, and we're looking at brisket, and I'm like, let's go. Like, no, you see this Wagyu right here, though? See this Wagyu right here? This is what you want, the Wagyu. Who would have thought the man whose dad ate the meal that I'm gonna tell y'all after is over here pointing at Wagyu? But you have to, you always have to go back and appreciate it. That Wagyu is expensive now.
Hey, that is crazy, man. Have you thinking about water, man? You'd be like, this water? I ain't gonna drink this. I want the Dasani.
Alkaline.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Only 8.0 above on the pH scale. That's all I'm drinking.
Man, bad and bougie, bro. Bad and bougie.
Oh man, guys, this has been phenomenal. This has been wonderful, wonderful. Look, we're getting better and better. We're growing little by little every week, right? We started off with 2, came up to 3, got to 4. I think we hit the max. This 12 episodes. This is the max. So we got to give ourselves a round of applause. We did a great job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more, get bigger and bigger. Right, that's the whole point of this is to turn like kind of like we said. Amiya said it in the chat. She said explanation over how we can turn things into something positive, turn the negative into positive, right? Just like the notorious B.I.G. turn negatives into positives, right? So, as we always say, ladies and gents, boys and girls, there are legitimate reasons for not going to college, but there are no legitimate reasons for getting an education.
For
folks.
not getting an education.
For not. No, but did you hear what I said? Because I had to say it because I said there are no legitimate reasons for not. So I do the double count. Okay,
double negative. That was a double negative.
Okay, double negative. Thank you for correcting. God bless you. God bless you. So
Best is gonna say it from here on out.
Best will say the ending from here on out. It has been determined by the courts. All right, so folks, it's been an incredible honor to do this again with you on another Sunday. We will see you next week at 2 p.m. ready to go with another set of tips, tricks, things to talk about for LYS free student mentoring, folks. It's been great.
All right, y'all. Be blessed. Bye.
Take care now. Bye.
Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.